Hey yo, what's up legends? Today we just received the new Apex Legends Season 14 Hunted patch notes. There's a lot to get through and I'm sure some of you may have read it already yourselves. But I'm going to be going through the patch notes here and reviewing it for the people that haven't had a chance to read it yet. Also be discussing how some of these changes might impact the current state of Apex as we know. We of course are receiving a new legend, Vantage, and I will be dropping another video about Vantage after testing her out and developing some potential combinations of her with some other legends in our roster. I'll be freestyling a little bit more as opposed to my usual content here, so forgive me for that. So without further ado, let's get right into the patch notes here. So guys, I won't be going into full detail with this patch note review. I'll just be going through the key things that I think are important and relevant to our general player base. And I'll be discussing how these changes will be impacting all of us and the state of Apex and the meta potentially as well. If you guys wanted to learn the patch notes in full detail, you guys have access to it online. So I won't bore you guys with the details. So that out of the way, let's get scrolling. So Vantage is a new legend that we'll be receiving. We knew what her abilities are going to be, and it's pretty much what it is. The only thing that I was looking forward to was her tactical. We do have clarification on that. We know that we have to have line of sight of Echo, and it's going to be a launch ability rather than a TP, so this is going to be more fair. Her passive Spotter's Lens, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how her passive interacts with different types of guns, how the indicators kind of work out and where it's going to play, and also even like the Wingman going into the sniper, how that's going to interact with Spotter's Lens as well. That's going to be interesting to watch and see. Next up is King's Canyon. So we have a reforged King's Canyon now. Say reforged, I think it's just going to a little bit brighter, like more greenery. As for POIs, the only thing that I know is that Skulltown is returning in place of Salvage. Removed all the balloon and the kind of fall off the map areas over here. It's a new Skulltown. It's not the Skulltown that we kind of know. It's a little bit downsized, and we also won't be receiving Thunderdome back as well. So a little bit of update for King's Canyon here. We do have a level cap increase, and basically the gist of it is we'll get like 3 tiers of 500 levels up, bringing the total free-to-play packs up to 544 total from level 1 all the way up to 500 tier 3. So that's really nice. It just means that we are bumped up now in free-to-play packs. So now everybody is able to get an heirloom in the game. For those of you that don't know, you need at least, if your luck is like the worst luck, you're guaranteed an heirloom every 500 packs, every 500 Apex packs that you open. It's a matter if it's free to play or bought. It's always 500 packs. Of course, most players won't be able to receive an heirloom before that, but you know, this just goes above the 500 pity. Moving on, we have rank changes. Rank is always important for all of us. A lot of us play ranked, I think. Entry cost +5 to all ranks and all divisions, but they have removed diminishing returns on elimination. So go ham, all you apers out there. For balance updates, a couple key things here. We have a new attachment called laser sights, which is to replace the barrels for SMGs and pistols, and also it serves to reduce hipfire spread. Interesting thing is that down here, SMG and assault rifles, for SMGs and assault rifles, the base hipfire spread is increased for both of them. I know a lot of you guys are thinking, how is this going to impact controller players versus mouse and keyboard players? For those of you that are experienced Apex players, you guys all know that for controllers, hipfire is just really easy. You're able to hipfire really well at close range, so especially with SMGs and, you know, assault rifle close range hipfire, it's just more reliable to use it on controller versus mouse and keys. So this could just be a huge disadvantage to mouse and keyboard if they didn't kind of adjust this accordingly for controller players as well, or maybe, you know, aim assist might still kick in just enough to kind of have that edge over mouse and keyboard players. But anyways, we'll have to test it out when the new season comes out tomorrow, and we'll have to see. Eva was pretty much regarded as like the worst shotgun, I think, in season 13, unfortunately, and I think deserved more love. That's kind of what they gave them. They gave them recoil improvements. It takes stocks now, so now you're able to kind of draw the weapon faster. Damage increase, fire rate increase, and also bolt rate of fire bonuses increase as well for blue and purple. Just not white, but I don't think, you know, they need to increase it for white because white's more for early game. Usually mid game, late game, we're using blue and purple, so all good there. So Eva's kind of back into the shotgun meta, it seems like. Bowcheck and Rampage are going into the crate. and Volt and G7 are coming out of the crate. So they didn't touch on Mastiff, so I think Mastiff is still in the crate. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think? And also interesting thing is that Car SMG no longer takes barrel attachment. Car SMG is kind of strong as a base gun already, so I don't mind that kind of change. But as you guys know, we talked about laser sights earlier there. So does that mean that you can't equip laser sights either? Which means hipfire might just not be that good for Car anymore. But you know, Car SMG is pretty strong regardless. So now, super important thing is that Wingman now uses sniper ammo and magazines. Wingman is like my most favorite gun in Apex. Now, a lot of people found that very odd, but you know, I'm okay with it. But at the same time, you know, not that keen on it. It just doesn't make sense in my head. But then again, Apex never makes sense. So, but also with the sniper ammo change on Wingman, we also have a little bit of update for sniper ammos themselves. So sniper ammo boxes now contain 14 rounds instead of 12, and then they also bump up each stack to 28 from 24. So that's just kind of adjusting here. Spitfire now uses light ammo and magazines, so that's kind of huge, and recoil increase to vertical barrel climb. So that's kind of fair, I think. Spitfire has always been a pretty strong gun, so a little bit of a balancing there, pretty nice. They actually reduce the projectile growth. I believe that means your spread is tighter now. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know. That's what I kind of read it as. But they also removed dual loader. So, interesting. Next up is golden backpacks, knockdown shields, and their perks. So golden armor is not mentioned here. We just have the golden backpack and knockdown shield. Now this is a huge concern for pro play as well as higher elo, and generally like just better players in Apex Legends kind of talked about this already. Is the self-revive mechanic. They hated the self-revive mechanic and they wanted it to be removed from the game, and they've just done that. In place they have Guardian Angel, which is a previous backpack perk, now on knockdown shields. So now they don't have self-revive anymore, but if you want to res your teammates with half HP and half shields, make sure you pick up a gold knockdown shield, because that's going to be the new perk. Now in place of the Guardian Angel, we have deep pockets in the backpack now. The deep pockets just means you can carry more large medicinal supplies. So batteries, medkits now stack up to 3, Phoenix now stack up to 2. Very nice. This means more space for your heals and shields and batteries, and also therefore more space for nades, which are super important. Speaking of nades, we have a little bit of adjustment to arc star, a little bit of balancing, nothing too crazy. Remove aim slow on stick, remains on detonation. Stick damage to armor to 10 from 40. So basically that is the same as if you were to stick someone without armor. It's basically the same. They just kind of nerfed that, but they also kind of bumped up the detonation damage to 75 from 70. So a little bit of balancing there. Next up is Legends. We all knew that this was coming. Valve's got a huge nerf. Let's talk about her. Where should we start here? Let's talk about her jets then. Her consumption increase. Her activation acceleration is also decreased. Aerial boost and strafing takes a debuff when hit by slowing effects. And also added a kind of an orange state so it's more clear for people when they're using their, bar. Missile swarm, huge nerf as well. You no longer are slowed with your aim and like your mouse movement when you're getting hit by missile swarms. I think that was really annoying, and that's huge because you're getting slowed like with your aim, and also movement slowed, and the damage is there too, and also the radius was huge, and they kind of nerfed all of that basically. So that's really nice. I think the key thing with the Valk nerfs though is definitely the Skyward Dive. Her ultimate is like the best relocation rotational ability in the game, and they just kind of pretty much gashed that as well by a lot. We do have a height reduction of 25%, so that's huge. Reducing the height reduction of her ult by 25%. I think that's gonna make it really difficult for her to rotate over certain kind of terrain, so it might just limit a little bit of her rotational ability and prowess. That's kind of huge, and she kind of needs that like nerf, I believe. Her launch time is reduced from 5.5 seconds to 5 seconds. Now at first glance it seems like a buff, but once you couple with the height reduction, it just basically makes players kind of travel upwards slightly slower as well. So very interesting. I'm not gonna go through all these other legends because mainly just balancing stuff, nothing too crazy. I will be talking about Revenant though. So a lot of you guys kind of remember Revenant, his ultimate Death Totem used to just activate, but now you're able to have a placement preview, which is really nice. It's kind of like a quality of change for Revenant players. And you know why I'm talking about Revenant? It's because King's Canyon is back, which means Revtane is back as well. So I'm already expecting some plays for the Death Totem here. So let's have a blast, guys. That's pretty much it though. There's a lot more quality of life changes. They remove some rings. And also they have a lot of bug fixes, but I won't be covering that. I think the final thing actually I wanted to cover is the ring damage stuff. So all battle royale maps, replicators, and crafting materials have been rebalanced across the maps. And actually, with another side note on this as well, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think that from now on, I mean, all the crafting materials that your teammates get will also be received throughout the whole party. So kind of like prevents people from having to go through the same area multiple times, collecting all the crafting materials before, you know, crafting stuff. So basically one person each crafting material, just collect, craft, and then leave. So that kind of increases the kind of pace of the game, I feel, especially like looting or just getting ready for mid to end game. So I think that's a nice kind of quality of update. But we're here to talk about ring adjustments here. Ring 1 damage increased from 2 to 3 HP per tick, equivalent to Ring 2. Ring 1 pre-shrink time decreased from 180 seconds to 60 seconds. That's a huge time decrease. So kind of gives people a lot less time to kind of work. So kind of increases game progression and shortens time, which I feel like is nice. But it just means that, you know, people have to kind of increase the pace. So if people who are slow at looting or people who are, you know, not as experienced with looting and moving and kind of getting a move on into zone and rotating already, then this is going to be a huge kind of adjustment to kind of get used to. So that's kind of people who are more new to the game, make sure you look out for this. Ring 1 closing time, King's Canyon 410 to 432, World's Edge 342 to 432, Storm Point 415 to 435, Olympus 410 to 432. And that pretty much sums up all the key things I want to kind of talk about over the patch notes. There's a lot of more information, obviously. I think that it's going to make the game a lot more aggressive than it is, especially because the rank changes. Entry cost is going to be more, but you know, with that we have the added benefit of kill points diminishing returns being removed. So I imagine you're going to see a lot more octane revs. You're going to see a lot more aggressive comps in the game. Valk's nerf is very interesting. I don't think that kicks Valk out of the meta. I think Valk's meta will still stay. Especially she's still like the only legend that kind of controls air superiority. But even then, I feel like with King's Canyon's kind of map design, she's going to struggle a little bit going through some of the terrain with her 25% kind of height reduction on her ult. So I imagine you're going to see more Wraiths, more Octanes, more like Horizons, more like other movement legends. Ashes, I think. Ashes might just pop a lot more. I think Ashe is kind of underrated a little bit and underused in Season 13. I think she's really nice. Her ability for ult at least. For rotations. It's pretty much like, you know, free rotation as well, just like Valk, except for like instead of vertical, you don't take any damage. You just go through the port right away instantaneously. Like, how good is that? I feel like she's just so underrated. Ashe. I think Ashe, you're going to see a lot more Ashes in the comps as well, other than Valk's. I don't know pro play how it's going to go, but I'm pretty sure Ashe is going to play a big role in there as well. We'll have to see how exactly that kind of 25% high reduction interacts with the rest of the map. Not only King's Canyon, but also World's Edge, Storm Point, you know, all the other maps. And also for pro play, we'll have to see how that goes as well. But generally speaking, I think it's going to push the meta more towards aggressive comps, at least ranked. It's going to be more aggressive, and it's going to be more centered around a multitude of movement characters and not just Valk anymore. Of course, Valk being probably the main still, but I think Ashe is going to definitely pick up some traction here with the pick rates. But other than that, you know, we'll have to see tomorrow. There's a lot more stuff to find out, a lot more testing to do. I hope you guys are as excited about Season 14 as I am. This is a huge kind of patch that's coming in. Again, also excited for the level increase and also free heirloom for everybody. That's always nice. And yeah, I'm really excited about Kings Canyon coming back as well. So I'll be covering more content on that as well. Thank you guys for checking out this video and sitting through the patch note review here. I'm sorry that it's a little bit different than my usual content, which is more structured. I'm kind of more freestyled over here. It's more patch notes, right? Kind of have to scroll through everything. It's kind of hard to kind of structure the video, especially since kind of I believe most of us have all read this. So it's just pretty much kind of summing everything up, talking about the key points and kind of how that would relate to our meta. Speaking of that, we also talked about SMGs, right? I think SMG meta might actually return just because of that hip fire thing, but also with the loot pool. If you guys really think about the loot pool, I think there's going to be a lot of SMGs now. You got the Volt back, right? You got the R99, and R99 being in the gold weapons now as well. And you also have car SMG. You have like 4 SMGs to use. I think SMG is going to be pretty popular again. It's always been popular, but I think it's still going to be even more popular now. So that's going to be super, super, super interesting to watch and play through. So I can't wait for Season 14 tomorrow. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I appreciate you guys. And for more Apex content, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.